Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling that, Dre. I'm feeling that. That's good stuff. Oh! What's going on, everybody? Shout out to all of my vocalists. This is Avery Floyd Jr., your vocal fitness coach of Vocal Coaching Moment. So, today we're going to get the musical director's perspective on what to do. How do we get these gigs? How do we get booked for these tours? How do we get these studio placements? We are going to tell you the do's and don'ts and the how-tos and how to prepare yourself to get booked, all right? Our special guest today is Mr. Andre Brown, aka MoDre, feeding us what we need to know to get the show.
What's up, everybody? How you doing today?
Shout out, welcome back to all of my vocalists out there. So, today we have a very special guest. We have my homeboy MoDre in the house. I'm very excited because Dre, he is somebody who not only is he a musical director, okay? Not how only has he headed many different bands and musical projects and gone on tour with different artists that you know, but he's a producer, he's a songwriter, he's a singer, he is an all-around artist, and he's such a humble spirit. And that is why Vocal Coaching Moment, we have chosen to have him as our guest of honor on our music producer's perspective. He's going to teach us about the things that we need to know to book the show. Okay, so all of the things that you are trying to find out about, how do I get on these gigs? How do I get to sing back up for Toni Braxton or Jadena or Barbara Streisand or Beyonce? How can I get in these gig bands to perform at these weddings? You know what I'm saying? How can I get placed in these studio sessions as background or lead vocals? Well, today, we're going to learn from Dre. All right. So thank you, man.
Thanks for having me, bro. Glad to be here.
So, Dre, I'm a vocalist, and I want to know what are some things that I can do to prepare myself to get these gigs, singing behind artists, getting booked for professional studio sessions, or playing in corporate bands. So what are some things that these vocalists need to know that they can do, they should and should not do to get booked?
I mean, I always tell people it starts at home. You know, it's all about the foundation, and that, you know, for myself and a lot of my friends who eventually went on the tour, we all started out singing in our local clubs, or playing in our local clubs and venues. So that you know, the start of that is learning a lot of music, learning a lot of songs, and really, you know, starting small, you know, starting in your local area, finding artists that are local that are doing their own thing, and, you know, can I sing background for you? Can I accompany you on your shows? You know what I mean? You gotta, what they say, you gotta crawl before you walk. So I think that is probably the first step that I would take is building up your ability, you know, as much as you can with, you know, singing with friends, singing locally, and that type of thing.
So from your perspective, you know, there are vocalists out there who are looking to get these gigs, and they're prepared, but they may find themselves being overlooked because they feel that maybe someone knows a person, and if they may feel like this because of politics. How important is that, and is there an issue as far as politics is concerned by people getting these auditions? Are they getting them over reputation? What are some ways that they could troubleshoot and overcome these situations, and how do you view certain challenges like that for the vocalists going for these gigs?
So I would say the most important thing, the first thing, is having thick skin, because everybody in this industry isn't going to be your friend. They're not going to be nice to you just because you're talented or anything like that. So I think having thick skin, knowing that, you know, you kind of have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and hear no, be okay with hearing no, because sometimes it is political. Sometimes, you know, it's you know, the artist wants their sister or their cousin to sing background or to play for them, you know, or whatever, you know, and I think part of that is, a lot of the times, you know, some may call it political, but the other side of it is, it's just people like going with what they know. They want to be secure and confident. Not just that you have the ability to execute the job technically, but also, are you fun to be around? Do you have a positive attitude? You know what I mean? Are you, you know, are you full of yourself? You know, are you the type of person that always wants to be the center of attention? You know, these are all make or breaks, you know. So I think, you know, it really begins with, you know, kind of making sure that you are in a position to be able to handle the position, not just technically, but all those other things. So that's kind of, you know,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Because if you're easy to work with, more pleasant to work with, then it's gonna get you more work. So that's some genius stuff that you just said.
Well, it'll keep you in the room. You know what I mean? I always tell people all the time, man, like, you know, the experience and the opportunity to work professionally and to be around so many influential people, it's a blessing, but it's also a responsibility. So you have to go in with an open ear and a closed mouth a lot of the time, because you know, it's just, I guarantee you, if you remain that way, the work will continue to come, because you won't find yourself in mess. People won't be talking about you. Only thing they'll have to say is, oh, she's on time, he's on time, oh, they can sing, oh, they're a pleasure, oh, they're great. So you know what I mean? But you know, I think that is the most important thing to do, is to just check yourself, because you know, once you know who you are and what you are, and you have a reputation in that way, you don't have to be concerned with what are called politics, because your reputation has spoke before you even got in the door. You know?
So the reputation will supersede the politics.
Oh, absolutely.
If you do it the right way.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen people going to auditions and be absolutely amazing. You know, and it's known that they're amazing, but it's also known that they're kind of jerks. You know, it's also, you know, they also, you know, walk around like they're God's gift to music. And, you know, which leads me to another important thing. You know, it's not about you. You know, one of the first things I had to learn touring was that I'm there for a service to lift up and to, buff, you know, this artist and help them become and shine in the best light possible. So whether it's me as an MD or as you as a background singer, it's knowing your place and knowing your role and going there and doing the work and get out of the door and go home and be good.
Okay. I know that it has to be a common thing that you see, you know, as an MD in your career of, you know, vocalists not being prepared and knowing their lyrics and you know, being on top of their game. So what are some do's and don'ts that you like, look, you know, this is good, this is bad, this is going to make you, this is going to break you, this is going to help you, this is going to hurt you, for vocalists that are looking to be placed in these positions?
I know when someone knows their stuff. Like, I know when you've done your homework at home. You know what I mean? Auditions and rehearsals, they're not the time for you to it's not the time for you to experiment with this new riff or run you've been doing. It's not the time for you to be like, you know, waiting outside the door trying to catch up on the lyrics. Like, you know, what they say, there's a saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Yeah. And I think that is the biggest thing. So I think it's just about, you know, that preparation in your downtime, you know, so that whenever that opportunity comes, you know, you're ready to show up and really deliver the way that you're supposed to. So I think it's just all of that homework that you have to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing, is just being ready. You know?
Singing well, dancing well, like those are all really dope and critical aspects to have when getting hired and booked for these you know, gigs. What are some things that artists can do as far as presentation, how they look? Like, what are some things that you can give them to where they know that their musical director before casting them is like, aha, yeah, I like the way you look? How important is that?
All right, so I think, and I don't want to talk back over what I said earlier. I don't want to confuse anyone. Although you are there for the gig and you are just a side person, you also are a brand yourself. So it's so important that you represent yourself in a way that you want to be seen, you know? I know for myself as a bass player in MD, when I first got into the industry, I learned really fast that people loved my hair, my locks. They loved seeing the dreads fly. They loved my energy. They loved the way that I, you know, would play off the artist and like we're dancing and we're bobbing. And it's the same thing for singers too, vocalists. Like, you know, like I have some friends one of my friends specifically, she sings with Beyonce. She's a part of the Mamas.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you know, if you know about
they
them,
are bad.
You know, they're amazing. They're, you know, full-bodied, big voices, beautiful, fly, like just they represent something, and it make you feel warm whenever you hear them sing together.
Oh, yeah.
And when
yeah.
you see them, it's a whole nother thing. So it's like, it only makes sense that Beyonce has rocked with them for over, 8 to 10 years, or however long they've been with them, been with her. And then also, like, I know Alicia Keys has, her two background singers are, it's a husband and wife duo, and, like, one of them has an afro and the other one wears a nose ring, and, like, they're really fly the way they dress. Like, these things are all important because this is an entertainment industry. This is, show business, and, we have to be able to meet that same level of, I always tell people, the same level of excellence, the same piece of greatness that's in Beyonce, that's in Bruno Mars, or that's anybody else. If you're on that stage, singing background, working lights, running sound, you have that same gift and that same thing inside of you. So you have to let that shine. And the way to let that shine is by being confident in who you are, and being able to show up and not just play the part, but look the part. Look like a rock star. Look like you deserve to be on stage. Smile when you're singing your background part. Don't just stand there. Move. If the artist is going like that, then you need to be going like that too. And these are all little things that, like, I think, what I said earlier about politics. I think having these things, and knowing yourself and knowing your brand and promoting your brand, these are the things that will negate any politics, because people will always want to work with you because they know what they're going to get. You know what I mean? There's always a level of consistency. Oh, she's a firecracker. She could sing and she could dance and her hair looks really cool. Let's sign her up every single time. And for me personally, I'll take that person over the most amazing musician, because, 9 times out of 10, when you see yourself in that way, you have a level of integrity that you won't compromise. So you got to show up and you have to be that superhero every single time. Even if you're just singing oohs and ahs and doo-wop type stuff. It's just all about how you deliver yourself, when you're on stage, and your appearance and all of that. Your brand.
Okay, so I want to flip the angle now. Because we're targeting vocalists, but, it's always good to toast both sides of the bread. What are some things that musical directors, when it comes to that relationship with the vocalist, musical director, audition or auditionee, what are some things that they can do to create a better environment and a better experience for their vocalists, for those members that are auditioning?
I'll say this: I'm not a serious dude. Like, I'm not that guy that's gonna scowl you down and Simon Cowell you. Like, I think the misconception that going into these situations that you have to, like, oh my God, you have to be amazing, you have to be perfect, you have to be yourself. I'm gonna be honest, like, the majority of the people that I've hired for background gigs, it wasn't because they came in the room and they had this, like, super, like, costume on, because there's a difference. Okay. Real recognizes real. Yes. And as a band leader, I have to be able to have a filter to know, like, is this really you, or are you just putting this on? And are you going to be able to, and is that going to come across to other people as, like, you know what I mean? So, like, and with that being said, like, coming into the room and smiling, not being nervous because you don't know what's going on. Like, do what you do. Be who you are. If your hair is big and frizzy and you have this bright personality, you come in that room and you show that personality. Because that's what we want. We want the real thing. We don't want you to come here and try to be something that you're not, or try to put on, because it's not going to resonate well. It doesn't sit well with anybody. The artist is going to know you're putting on, and the people in the audience are going to know that you're putting on. So I think the most important thing is really just coming in and being confident in who you are and what you are, and being nice, being, another one is being flexible. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I've been in some situations where I've walked into an audition and the songs that I learned for the audition are no longer the songs that they want to hear. Oh. And what are you going to do? Nobody cares that you weren't aware. Nobody cares that it's the last minute. The industry doesn't care. It doesn't work that way. Wow. Because you gotta understand, majority of these people that you're dealing with, at least 75% of the people that you're dealing with as a professional musician that you're working with in the industry aren't musicians. They're not creative at all. They're business people. So they want results. They don't care how long it takes or what it takes. Results. And if you can't do it, somebody else can.
The big picture for a lot of people is the desire to work as a musician, as a vocalist, traveling. Because these artists that they're auditioning for, they travel all over the world. What are some key things to prepare for international travel?
Passport.
Okay.
I'm going to cut you off right there.
Okay.
Passport, passport.
Okay.
Honestly, I think that's part of that foundational thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I'm a product of fake it till you make it. And some people may be like, that's
real.
It's very real. You have to see yourself in those positions before you get there. Because if you can't, when you get there, you're not gonna know what to do. And also it's gonna mean more. So I think, it's doing your local stuff, learning lots of music. It's buying your passport before you even got a big gig.
Okay.
Be prepared for that. You know what I mean? It's having currency exchange apps on your phone. It's maybe even having I know Google does like a Google Translate. These things because the thing is it's not just showing up and doing the gig. It's like, okay, cool, somebody calls you and tells you you're going to Africa for 3 weeks. Never been out of the country. You have your passport, but you're not sure how much money you're supposed to take. You're not sure about, what the currency exchange rate is. And if you go over there and you start spending your money, you don't know all that stuff, and you don't know that you're supposed to tell your bank that you're going out of the country.
Right.
They're going to cut I've literally done it. I've been there. Me and my brothers, we were out, I think we were in France, and forgot to tell our banks. And it just so happened the artists we were with that time, we didn't get our per diem right away. We got a per diem maybe the day after, but we spent a whole day in France. We was scrounging. All right, you got $1, $2?
Oh,
cool.
Man.
But see, then the rough part about it is we only had cash, so now we got to try to find a place to exchange our money.
Man.
So it's all these things that you don't think about that, but it's I literally, every time I go on tour, I have to call my bank, and it takes at least 20 minutes to go through every single state that I'm going to, in order to be able to let them know so that they don't cut my card off, so I can still eat and so I can survive.
Okay. From your position as a musical director, making your job a whole lot easier, how important and necessary is the role of vocal coaching for vocalists when they want to pursue this career, traveling and being in bands, being a background vocalist, getting studio work, singing in television, singing on award shows? How important does the role of getting a vocal coach to help your craft? How big is that?
It's everything. Honestly, I wish every artist saw the value in having a vocal coach on the road with them at all times. Not just for them, but for the background singers as well. Mainly because what you don't realize is, most people don't realize, especially the average person, you just think you just get up there and you sing. That's what you do. This, we're not magic. And so if you're touring for a month and you're doing 1.5 hour long shows every single night, not to mention, and a lot of times you might go out for drinks with the band, or you might go out, you might eat pizza that night. You might eat, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that cheese, we know how that phlegm likes to get going, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or you're changing climates. You're going from Chicago, where it was -2 degrees last night, to, Dakota, South Dakota, and it's, 75, 80 degrees, and, you're dealing with dust. There has to be a level of self-care when it comes to your gifting, your voice, as a singer. So I think absolutely, even if they're, because a lot of people, I know, I think Bieber and a couple other artists, when you have the budget, you can travel with someone. But I definitely would advise vocalists to, even if it's Skype calls, once a week with your vocal coach, or even just before you go on this run, getting a regimen, you know what I mean, that you can really apply to your everyday lifestyle as pertains to being on the road, because it's just gonna get hectic. I mean, I know this personally, I've sang background on some gigs and played, but even just as a musician, I know my arms after a week of touring, because you're doing, if you're out for a month, you're playing at least 4 shows a week, bare minimum. And after a while, man, week 2, you're in there yo, my arms are tired as crap, or I don't have, or you didn't sleep well. You're traveling, and you only get a good 4 hours sleep on the bus, and then you're at the venue and you're ready for sound check. So yeah, I absolutely think a vocal coach is necessary for background vocalists. And like I said, I would advise artists that are moving into this level of touring and doing their own thing. I think you should consider that for your team, for yourself and for your team, because I know a lot of artists that don't have vocal coaches, huge artists that are playing some of the biggest stadiums and places ever, but they don't know how to use their voice the right way, or if they can use it the right way, they don't know how to keep it and maintain it and maintain that level of just care.
That's a big point. It's very important to this is the level of care and self-care. So in closing, from this amazing rain of jewels, like this is like it's like when the dwarfs in Snow White go into the cave and they come out with all these jewels, and it's like you just dumped all these amazing jewels.
Thank you.
What are I say the top 3 to 5 things that you want vocalists to know as they step onto that next tier or that next rung and take that risk to go out and step in front of situations that put them in front of people like you? What would you tell them?
Do it because you love it. Don't do it because it's money and because it's hype and because it looks good. The second part of that first thing, because you're doing it because you love it, it's understanding it's a level of servitude. You know what I mean? And you have to really be humble. And that's not just like fake, no, really, like you have to see yourself as this thing that has a responsibility, not the thing, but this person that has a responsibility to deliver and create this amazing moment every single night. So with that, you have to realize and always remember, that, I'll say the second thing is, again, I don't know how else to stretch preparation. And that's technically, from knowing your voice and knowing how to use your voice. But then also it's the other side of things. It's having, making sure your passport is up to date, making sure that you, making sure that you got your gig clothes. What are y'all wearing? Is this the thing? Is there an outfit? Don't be the one that doesn't have your stuff together. It's just having your ducks in a row. You know what I mean? Because you just, again, when you prepare for it and you're ready, you don't gotta rush and you don't gotta lose your mind. And then the last thing I'll say, is probably I think having fun with it, man. Because I know people, and I know I've reached a point in my career where I was doing things and like it starts to become a job, but it's all about the mindset. Going in, it's about seeing it literally as an honor, but then also seeing as an honor, but then also seeing it as like, this is really cool. We get to do this every day of our lives. Yes. And you don't, because I tell people all the time, people ask me, they'll be like, well, what was your favorite part of touring? Like, what was your most amazing experience? You want to know the sad truth about it is that I have forgotten more than I actually can remember about my experiences. And that's not to say like I was out of my mind or anything like that. It's just sometimes you're so focused on doing the job that you're not in the moment. And so that's the thing. It's like, we talked about with like the vocal exercises.
Absolutely.
Earlier. It's like after a repetition, you're not thinking about it anymore. So you want to get that good to the point where you're like, oh, I can do it in my sleep, or I can do it without even thinking about it. And when that happens, then you can really have fun. That's what I mean? Yes, and I think that's where, I say, like I said, the foundation of preparation and, all these different things. Not saying that because it's like you have to be able to put on that you're a professional or be able to say that you practice this many hours a day. I'm saying it because when you don't actually reach that state of nirvana and that state of euphoria until you can lose yourself in the moment. And when you open your eyes and you realize that you're part of a machine that is touching thousands of people at Wembley or thousands of people at Radio City Music Hall, or that millions of people are watching you on Good Morning America, you should be proud. You should be able to, you should smile and stand up tall and own that, because these moments, man, these opportunities are literally like, it's life changing, and it's something that most people would give their right arm to be able to do. So we're extremely blessed to be able to live in this lifestyle, in this industry, and that's what I would say. Just do the work, but make sure you love it, and make sure you find yourself losing yourself in the moment.
Okay, I mean, I know that y'all, I hope that you got the notebooks out, the iPads, the laptops, the tape recorders. I hope that you have bookmarked this interview, because Dre has given us everything that we need to know and more, okay? You want to know how you can get these gigs and how you can impress and show these musical directors that you're made for, that you're built for, which I know that you are. Everything that you need to know, he has told you. You have been blessed with this overwhelming oasis of knowledge in a desert of innocent ignorance, okay? So stay tuned, write down these questions, study these answers, and apply it, okay? So you can get that check, okay? Because y'all be liking to wear the minks and the furs and the apple bottom jeans and the, whatever, okay? So thank you so much, Dre. I cannot tell you how much I admire you, how much I appreciate you sharing, and I know that you are going to continue to inspire people as you've inspired not only me, but everybody else that you come across with. And thank you for opening up your heart and your mind and sharing things that people would not get out there. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. You're going to have to come back now.
Definitely,
You have to come back.
definitely.
Spraying.
Absolutely.
You have to come back.
Absolutely.
But this is alkali spit. All right, stay tuned. Vocal Coaching Moment, episode 3. Dre and me.
He's the guy. He's the
Okay, so you know what? I can't do this like Dre. So you want to be like, if you want to follow somebody who can actually do it right versus this, that, pit-a-pat, then this is where you need to go. Tell them where they can find you, Dre.
I'm on Instagram and Twitter at MoDre, MoDR3. And on Facebook, I am MoDre. So Facebook.com/I am MoDre. And I have music out. I have a single that I just released called Make Up Your Mind, another one called I See You, and a project called Ready on all of the streaming platforms. Hope you enjoy it.
Oh, we ready. They ready. They don't even know. We out.